Ready? Nice. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to The Complete Game, episode 40, G. Episode 40.
Tuukka Rask.
Yes, Tuukka Rask. Lots to get to today. Garett, catch us up since, Friday? What's going on?
Yeah, we got Garett Crochet throwing his first complete game of his career. Congrats.
1-0, 3 hits, shutout, 9 Ks.
Just found out he was a former UT grad too, so that was a cool little nugget. He was a nuclear engineer major, which is crazy.
He's a lefty, dude. They're freaks.
Sox have won 10 straight on that note and move up to second wild card spot in the American League, as well as 2 games back in the American League East of the Blue Jays, 1 game back of the Yankees. They went from 43-45 to 53-45 in the last 10 games. That's quite a stretch before the All-Star break. And then the Brewers also have been on a hot streak, 7 games to go, 1 game back of the Cubs in the Central. They are also they also spoiled rookie Brady House's 2-home run game yesterday. One of the first of which was his first career home run with a 3-run comeback in the 9th to keep that streak alive. That was a fun game to watch. And then the Mariners put up a 15 spot with 19 hits in what was a 22-run game. Just a circus fireworks fest. Figured that was worth mentioning.
Side note: I traded for Julio Rodriguez in my fantasy league. Ohtani was in the deal.
The thing I wanted to ask you about, though, is with the Brewers and Red Sox specifically, you were on a few teams like this that going into the All-Star break start to gel and go on a hot streak. And just wanted to ask you about like what that's like, if that's a good thing, bad thing.
The break could not come at a worse time for either club. The break is what you make it. Each guy handles it individually. You got all-stars going to the All-Star game. You got people going home to rest. You got all this other stuff going on. You got hot guys who want to hit tomorrow and be in a game tomorrow. It could not come at a worse time for a team on a winning streak, because you can't pick the momentum up on Thursday or Friday. So my argument was I always wanted to be the All-Star game starting pitcher, but I wanted the first game in the second half because that was a big thing, right? That was kind of like another second opening day. Tough time for them. The Sox are playing really, really well. Their bullpen's gelled. They still, you heard Breslow came out this week and said that they were now in the market for another bat or potentially a front rotation guy, which, okay. I mean, they certainly have the prospects to do it, but both are back in the thick of things. I don't know. Woodruff coming back is a big deal for the Brewers.
He pitched real well.
And he's throwing well. Yeah.
I think he had 10 Ks.
Be curious to see how they pick it up after the break. If they revert, like I said, I don't want to say I'm a Red Sox fan. I'm not a fan of any team. I'm a fan of fan bases and stuff like that. You know how I feel about the ownership in Boston, but as far as the players go, I like to see that city have a good team because it's a fun city to be in when they're winning. Like I said, I just don't feel like the way their roster's constituted is built to win a World Series right now. So
it's always a more fun conversation when the Red Sox are in
like
it.
any team, right? Nobody cares if the Angels are in it.
Yeah.
Or but when the Red Sox are hot and the Yankees are hot and the Dodgers are hot and the Padres, all that stuff makes for better baseball.
I also love that even if it's not like a loudly boasted notion amongst the locker room, that like in the media, it's pretty obvious that a lot of people after the Rafi Devers move, including us, thought that this was a sellout, give up, whatever happens, we'll sell tickets. Where the Red Sox, we sell at every game. And the guys in the locker room kind of just sort of went F that. And
that's what happens. And I
started having fun
right.
for the most part.
I've been on teams where that happens, but it's not a subliminal thing or something just under the surface. Like we're motivated now because they don't think we can win. You'll have days like that. The A-Rod Tech fight came on a day when the Red Sox owners wanted to cancel the game because they weren't going to get a gate. And we're like, screw that. We want to play. Those happen in little minutes and moments, but like, the game's too hard to be focused on things that don't have anything to do with winning the game. They needed somebody to step up. Somebody stepped up. I mean, what's his name? Rafaela?
Yeah.
He obviously stepped up. Roman Anthony's, I think, turning into the player people thought he was going to be. But and Bello with the big, complete game, and Crochet 1-0 win. The makings are there. I'd be stunned but not shocked if they got to the postseason and stunned, if not shocked, if they got to the World Series. A lot of things have to break right for them. Their bullpen's throwing really well. Chapman's throwing really well right now. Bregman just came back. They're in a position if they want to make a move and get, if they want to go to Florida and get an Alcantara.
Yeah.
Right. Florida's got, or some of these other guys that may become available. What are the Braves going to do? Right. I mean, the Braves have got a lot of things going on. I don't think they're playoff positioned, but interesting to see. We're at the All-Star break.
Yeah, you want to talk about Mizorowski?
Skubal.
Okay.
Right? Skeens versus Skubal is the starting, which is sexy as hell.
Yeah.
But this week, and you've seen half the rosters changed because pitchers that are starting on the week, and this, I think it's a good thing, although, I'm assuming that the guys that got named, like Crochet got named, he's not going to pitch. Does he still get to go? I mean, early in my career, oh my God, I would have gone. Late in my career, no way, dude. But a lot of replacements. One of the actually breaking a record for youngest starting pitcher and fewest starts to get named to an all-star team. Jacob Mizorowski gets named. And what do we always talk about? Whenever there's like this great positive news about something cool happening, everybody focuses on what? The why. Oh my God. But Nick Castellanos with the Phillies went bullshit because he thought a couple of his teammates should have been named ahead of Mizorowski. Totally understandable, right? You're sticking up for your team. That's what you do. I remember in, it might have been 04, somewhere when it had to be 05, I think. Tito had the honors of naming the All-Star team, and Mike Timlin was having a great year and didn't get named. And Dougie was kind of pissed. Mirabelli was kind of pissed because he thought that Timlin should have deserved. But it's a tough position to be in. Bottom line is Mizorowski's going to be there. The All-Star games for the fans. Good for him. Good for him. As a young player. Speaking of young players,
I wanted to
give
some context to the quotes because it wasn't just Castellanos. This is a quote. It's turning into the Savannah Bananas about the All-Star game,
right,
was what he said.
Right.
And then Real Muto said that's just how MLB does it now. Nothing against the Mizorowski kid, but those two, Sanchez and Suarez, are deserving of being on the team in the first place. There's no doubt. And then Trey Turner said, "What a joke. That's effing terrible. I mean, that's terrible, dude."
Yeah. Again, so doing what you do.
Yeah.
Pick up for your teammates. But I was going to say, along the lines of young kids, the draft is underway. We're 8 picks in, going to the 9th pick. The best pitcher, I think, in the draft still hasn't been picked and probably won't be picked in the first 30 picks. But in kind of a little stunning moves, the quote-unquote experts out there, we're talking about Cade Anderson and Liam Doyle as probably the top 2 picks. Those guys are on the quote-unquote fast track to the big leagues, neither of which is true. And this is not against these kids. This is the greatest day of their lives. I'm not poo-pooing on it, but at a minimum, both of those young men need to be in AA for a year and AAA for a year and throw 250, 300 innings in the minor leagues with hands-on pitching to refine the things they need to refine. Neither one of them is polished enough mechanically, but they're top of the rotation arms. But anyway, Washington kind of went off the beaten path, taking Eli Willits, former big league dad, with the number 1 pick, shortstop out of high school. Oklahoma. And then Tyler Bremner from UC Santa Barbara went second. Cade Anderson, Ethan Holiday, Liam Doyle to the Cardinals at 5. Ethan Holiday was pre-ranked the number 1. The Rockies took him with the Holiday thing. Excuse me, everybody, the experts had talked about the number 1 prep arm being Seth Hernandez. He went 6th to the Pirates. And I struggle with that one just because I saw what their development process looks like. And this kid needs, I think, a ton of work. Big arm. And Ava Arquette to Florida, or to the Marlins at 7. Shortstop out of Oregon State. JoJo Parker, a name nobody had talked about in the top 10 early, from Purvis High School in USA. By the way, the first 8 picks of the draft, shortstop, pitcher, shortstop, pitcher, shortstop. Monster year for amateur shortstops this year. But I'm going to tell you right now, the team the guy with the biggest upside and the guy who I probably would have no problem taking I would take him now if I were the Reds, Cruz Schoolcraft, 6'8" lefty out of Oregon, who is going to be, I think, has a chance to be a little unit in a big way. They have taken shortstop Steele Hall out of Hewitt-Trussville High School in Alabama with the 9th pick. The Reds did. So shortstop number 5 goes in the first round for 5 of the first 9 picks. But that's part of, and I don't disagree with that theory, G, that the shortstop is usually always your best athlete, right? A high school shortstop rarely translates. They end up being a corner third baseman, or they can move to second center field. But your most athletic, and if your most athletic kid is also your best bat, that's not a bad thing. So 5 shortstops out. Want to close the show content-wise before Garrett gets to his little thing with a shout out to my former manager, Terry Francona, on his 2000th career win today. It is, what's the date today? July 13th.
July 13th is today,
2025. April 1st, 1997, I was on the bump for his first one. We beat LA, I think 3-1 on opening day. And that was his first major league win. And I was there for it. So I texted him actually and said, congrats, and that I was excited for him, and all the things that go with that. Next up, Cooperstown for the guy, which is exciting because he'll tell you he's the most self-deprecating guy on the planet, but everything he's gotten, he's earned, and I'm proud of him. I'm proud to have played for him.
13th manager in MLB history.
Yeah.
So,
and the only one,
when you're on a list of less than 20 guys, that's pretty impressive.
I think he's one of 3 with 2,000 not in the Hall of Fame, but I think the other 2 aren't eligible yet. Dusty and I think Bochy.
That makes sense.
Yeah. So soon to be a Hall of Famer and well earned. So congrats, Tito. All right, what do we got?
Guess teammate.
Guess my teammate.
All right, we got 5 clues for a former teammate of my dad's, ranging from vague to very obvious.
I crushed the last one.
Starting with the most vague clue. Yeah. All right. An 8-year MLB career. I made the most of my time with the 2 teams I played for, winning a World Series early on in my career.
Junior Spivey.
We already did him.
Damn. Okay.
Good guess, though. I have a career 566 win percentage, with my best season coming in at 18-3 with a sub-3 ERA.
Daisuke Matsuzaka.
I didn't know if that was going to be too easy for you.
8 years.
Yeah.
Huh.
8 years, 2 with the Mets.
I forgot the Mets.
Yeah. Fourth place Cy Young voting that year.
Yep. Daisuke.
One of the biggest.
Was I learned a little Japanese before I came over. He was a revelation coming over here. I had pitched with guys who were from Asia, different Asian countries, and I'd always lamented about how they couldn't get away from their throwing programs, the Asian throwing program, which is throw every day, throw a ton, blah, blah, blah. It's the anti-United States theory. Because this is a harder game and it's harder here to pitch here and you can't do those things to your body, blah, blah, blah. Byung-Young Kim was the first guy I ever thought that it really impacted. But Daisuke, the same. He came over here as throws 100, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, no, I was just going to say that was like, for me personally, being 12 at the time, like probably the biggest like sports hype for a guy that wasn't like LeBron or Bryce Harper that came out of high school and was supposed to be. He was 26 when he came over, and he had a secret pitch that no one had ever seen before, and he threw 105.
And it was a split finger fastball.
Yeah. A fork ball, whatever you want to call it, but it was the gyro ball when he came over, and people had never seen anything like it.
Well, you saw,
and they paid what, like $100 million just to talk to
this. Think about this. We heard that Roy Sasaki was going to be the next coming. Hurt and horribly ineffective. Because this is a different game. Japan is AAA, Japan League, Major Leagues. To me, that's where the guys in Japan, some of them are, and they've proven themselves for decades to be good big league players. But the overall play is, to me, above AAA, below the big leagues. And evaluating it is challenging. There's still some old school to the Japanese player in a good way. They can do all the fundamentals. Defensively, they're always exceptionally good players. But they move runners over. They make contact. Striking out is still shameful.
Yeah.
And so they're contact guys. And you've seen some of them make a splash without being built up to be somebody. They come over here and it's a different game over here. And it's
Was Ichiro hyped like that?
oh yeah. When I went to Japan in 1998 with the All-Star team, and you were 3, I think, and you went on the trip. But I remember I faced Ichiro and Matsui were in one of the Japan teams, All-Star teams. And I remember being out on the street and Matsui walked out, and as stature-wise, Asian people for the most part tend to be smaller, more slight built. Hideki was, by the way, one of the Yankees I hated facing the most. He walked out in the street and it was like Elvis. Him and Ichiro both. Ichiro might be one of the 5 greatest hitters that ever lived. 3,000 hits in the United States, Hall of Fame in the United States after just overwhelming Japan's baseball.
Hideki Matsui, one of the greatest stories ever all time too, trying to give the press his porn collection.
Right.
When he just a total culture shock guy, just not being able to read the room yet.
Yep. No. And, but it, going over there made me understand in some ways the challenges they face coming over here.
Yeah. At first,
Billy Carson to the White Sox, Corona senior high school shortstop. Wow. Yep. They're going by the wayside.
By the way, he retired his 55,000 film porn collection in 2012, so no longer accessible.
Right. Only probably approached by Kenta Colby in total volume of movies. All right, guys, we'll be back on Tuesday, which is the All-Star game.
Yep.
So we may push Tuesdays to a late publish so we can watch the All-Star game and talk about it.
Yep.
And like I said, we're in the middle of switching formats. We're on Riverside. We're distributing through my social media platforms.
You
and
guys
Garett,
see clips coming out more often now.
Coming out. By the way, Garett, can you tell people about your? Hold on, let me get you on here.
What's up?
Tell people about your new podcast.
What new podcast?
Well, the one you're doing with Garrison, your stream.
Not a podcast. We're playing games together on Twitch, twitch.tv/Garett Schilling. If you guys like to follow, I'm posting little clip ups of all that on my YouTube, same name, Garett Schilling.
Recommendations of a podcast idea.
Yeah, it's a very just chill hangout. We were last time our episode was just I'm pretty good with like a little Rain Manny, if you want to give it that accent, with years that movies and television were released. So he was just quizzing me with random ones for about 35 minutes, and that's if you're bored, want to throw something up.
And he's got a podcast coming up in the near future too, which I think is potentially a great idea.
Yeah. To be announced at a later date.
Yep. All right,
Thanks for listening, guys.
We'll talk to you on Tuesday. Take care.